Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to the Farts and Craps Show, or if it is your very first time here, welcome. I'm your host for this video, Dan Joe McCraps, and today I'm going to be talking about the Isle of Armor DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, we also have the Crown Tundra coming out later this year, but for now, I'm going to be talking about the first part of the expansion for Pokemon Sword and Shield. So let us begin. First of all, as a disclaimer, I would like to say none of the criticisms in this video will be reviewing Pokemon Sword and Shield as a whole, but rather what the Isle of Armor DLC brings to the table as the first expansion. That being said, I will start with the good. We have new Pokemon, obviously, and some of the standout additions, in my opinion, are Talonflame. We also have Kingdra, which I don't have yet, but here's a nice little horsey. We have Heracross, Crocodile, and one of my all-time favorites, Luxray. Now, we also have a lowland Pokemon from the Diglett Hunt side quest, and that's fantastic because most people either didn't play Sun and Moon, or they don't want to pay for the premium subscription to Pokemon Home. And this is actually especially great because so far, at least, in my experience, all of the Alolan Pokemon I've received have had their hidden abilities. So Snow Warning for Vulpix, Slush Rush for Sandshrew, Rockhead for Marowak, and Liquid Voice for Poplio. Now, I've heard a lot of people complain about the lack of story additions, but at least in my opinion, that's not what the Isle of Armor is about. Also, one of the big additions that we have, obviously, is Venusaur and Blastoise, who were added to the game a couple months ago, actually, with one of the Pokemon Home updates. But what is new about them is they now have the ability to Gigantamax, which is absolutely phenomenal, and they have their new signature G-Max moves, which are basically the same as Charizard's G-Max Wildfire, but in the grass and water type, respectively. And basically how you do this is very straightforward. You just talk to this guy and make Pokemon Max Soup, which just requires Pokemon that can drink Max Soup. Does he say anything? Oh, okay. Any Pokemon that have the ability to Gigantamax. That's interesting. I've never actually asked him that before. But if you have a Pokemon that you've been... Oh, it tells you. Wow. So, we got Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, Rillaboom, Cinderace, Inteleon, Butterfree, Pikachu, Meowth, Machamp, Gengar, Lapras, Eevee, Snorlax, Garbodor, Dreadnought, Corviknight, Toxtricity, Alchemy, Duraludon, Orbeetle, Colossal, Sandaconda, Grimmsnarl, Flapple, Appleton, Hatterene, Copperajah, Kingler, and Centiskorch. Last but not least, Urshifu. And that's all. Cool, so I'm hoping that list gets updated in the future, but it's nice they have a list of all the Pokemon that can Gigantamax. So if you don't want to rely on max raid battles and you'd rather breed and train your own Pokemon, get them all beefed up, and then give them the ability to Gigantamax, that might be much more preferable for you, as it was for me, because I hated relying on luck or events to try to get specific Pokemon. Like, I missed one of the big events where Gigantamax Lapras was more common, but since then I've caught a lot more Gigantamax Lapras. So, but before I had caught any, I had trained a lot of them up. A couple, actually quite a few to level 100. I released quite a few of them as well. But we also have Politoed, which is nice. Great little water type. And just quite a few new Pokemon, which is absolutely fantastic. So they add to the Pokedex, I believe it is 100 new Pokemon. Isle of Armor also has 100 recurring Pokemon that were not new from the game. And some people I saw were wondering about the number 3, like there was Galarian Slowking. Not yet, at least to my understanding from what I've read online. It seems like it's just the Cantonian Slowking, which is number 3, and you get a Kanto Slowpoke, I believe, also from the Dig Hunt. I believe. So one of the other additions that I thought was really great is now on the Judge function. It will also show the ability and held item of each Pokemon, which is actually fantastic for when you're breeding and you just want to check, okay, does this one have the hidden ability or the secondary ability I'm looking for? Personally, I was hoping for a Horsey with Sniper, so that's what I was checking for, and also a Fletchling with Gale Wings, I believe is its hidden ability, but I don't actually have a Talonflame with Gale Wings or found whatever the middle one is. I can't remember the middle, but anyway. So the other really cool addition is you will see Galarian, depending on how you say it, gym leaders will occasionally be doing their own thing on the Isle of Armor with their signature Pokemon at various points around the island, which for me personally helps build the narrative for this new environment, which is really fantastic. And actually just caught a capture of it earlier. As you can see here, Bee was on one of the beaches, just staring out at the ocean with her Machamp. And also, I found her at a separate time up on the... This was near the Tower of Darkness. So, I thought that was pretty great. As well as this is, once you're done with the main story portions, your rival on the Isle of Armor will actually join you in certain max raid battles around the island, which is really fantastic because, as you can see on the right, there's always that one Magikarp or that one like Pikachu or just a choice of a trainer that doesn't make any sense for the Pokemon that you're going up against, like a Howlucha against a Fairy type. It's like that's fighting. I mean, come on, you don't want to use a fighting Pokemon against a Fairy type, so... you can also receive Armorite Ore through max raid battles, which is a great addition because Armorite Ore is very rare on the island. You can find it randomly, most of the time in caves, I've found. But you need 7 pieces to give to Digging Paw in order to get just like lots of watts. So that being part of grinding out max raids is fantastic. And on the topic of watts, Game Freak has added some amazing usages for watts on the Isle of Armor. So not only do we have new vendors at the entrance of the dojo, including a watt trader that has Pokeballs, Great Balls, Ultra Balls, the various potions up to Hyper, Pokedolls, and Wishing Pieces, which is all phenomenal. We also have a berry garden, which is nice, just some of the basics, Orange, Cherry, Chesto, Pecha, as well as a guy that has various food items, which is also phenomenal. And the main usage for wattage on the Isle is upgrading the dojo, actually. So when you first get here, it's kind of bare bones, but then you can add Ratomi, I believe is how you say that. The ability to restore your Pokemon, which I think is there from the get-go, but also a stylist, and it's also a changing room, which is fantastic. We also have the Cramomatic, which can finally take Dynamax candies and turn them into a Dragon Fang, which is nice because you can actually sell Dragon Fangs, and vending machines, which are great. So you can add... you get freshwater, soda pop, lemonade at a discount, as well as vitamins. Now, if you're anything like me, you have spent millions of Pokebucks in this game, just on like protein, iron, HP up. But here, once you get this upgrade, you can get them for half off if you buy in packs of 25, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Now these upgrades are very expensive. At this point, I still don't have HP up, and Carbos, I think, was the other one I don't have. Is that right? Yes. HP up and... oh, excuse me, Carbos. And I have currently donated 321,000 watts to the dojo. So yes, it's expensive. I'm trying to also go through this kind of spoiler-free, but as you can see, Hop shows up. Now the only thing, and I'll get to my gripes here in a minute actually. So the other really fantastic thing about the Isle is how beautiful it is. Of course, you have the addition of Pokemon that can follow you. And I like to have Blastoise up front because he's a great catching Pokemon, actually, if you give him Yawn and False Swipe. He's just so slow. You can also customize your bike and your outfit now. The bike, I don't really like the customizations, but the outfit is similar to customizing your tent. So it will... she can ask you if you want it to be Rotom colors or the first Pokemon in your party. So Blastoise's colors. There we go. So actually it's a two-tone blue with like green sleeves, which is pretty great. Now they look a little bit different if your bike is customized. So I'll just show you the difference there. If you customize and choose Glistening Black. Same, yeah, it also applies to your outfit, which I'm not a fan of at all. So I prefer the original bike look and the basic outfit designs. But yeah, the water type one is fantastic. The ice type one is good, the grass type one is good. But yeah, there's so many different plant types now. We got like all these new flowers and like little logs on the ground. Which adds just like a lot of color, a lot of life. We got these like shallow pond things now. Lots of new tree types as well, I believe. I don't know if these are new assets, so to speak, but there's a lot more variety now, which is really cool. Which brings me to my gripes, actually. So, all the new foliage is great, except for the fact that there are 151 Alolan Diglets to find in the DLC. And so, the only thing you see of the Diglets is maybe a little rounded top of their head, which looks very similar to all of these pebbles littered around the island. But they also just blend right in to like the little bushes and plants all over. So if you're riding around at full speed, you're not going to see these. So a lot of my time on the island is just creeping along like this, being like, okay, where are you, where are you, where are you, where are you? Which is very unfortunate. There's not too many rocks actually in the forest, but these ones, these little rocks, they're all over, and they look very similar to the tops of Diglett's head. As you can see, they're just littered all over the ground. But yeah, the terrain is much more complex. There's much more verticality. I feel like the base wild area is just a bunch of flat. It's not very interesting. But yeah, getting into my gripes. So I wrote a nice little thing here. Since the terrain is more topographically complex than the base game's wild area, it is much harder to find max raid battles from a distance. Typically, I fast travel to Challenge Beach to take a look around, because this is one of the better vantage points, but there are still many corners of the island you cannot see from here. So then one of the other places to check commonly would be Challenge Road, and they knew what they were doing because a lot of these are fast travel points. So you can see for a while there. And part of the problem here also is the Switch's draw distance for the game, which sadly there's nothing that can improve that, except for maybe hacks, but nah, play on original hardware. The other gripe is every time you want to go out and enjoy the ocean a little bit, every single time, I hear you, where are you? There you are. There is always a Sharpedo that will come after you, and these things are faster than you. So there's a little bit of tricky maneuvering you can use to get away from them, but for the most part, they are going to catch up. And it's just very annoying. Even just the sound of a Sharpedo barreling after you, which you will hear often. I can, already hear one. You can kind of block them with a den if you can get to one and get that between you and the Sharpedo. But as soon as you get away from one, and there will be another one. And, yeah. It's very, very infuriating because it's just constant. And using a Max Repel and a Pure Incense, even together. And actually, I'm wondering if Talonflame. Let's see here. Which one do you want to move? Let's move that to there. I wonder if Talonflame will still follow you on the ocean. Oh yeah, he will, because he can fly. That's great. Okay, so let's also use a Max Repel. Nope, there's Sharpedo. Oh. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, okay. Yes, use another one. But as you can see, they still come at you. Just quite literally, it's constant, regardless of the weather. I could go to a different part of the map with different weather, and Sharpedos will still be coming. So it's sunny here. Let's see, this part of the ocean, the Stepping Stone Sea. Let's go out there, see if the rain will change anything. Spoiler, it won't. And there's another Sharpedo. Let's use another Max Repel. Thankfully there's a den in front of me, so... But that one, and there's another Sharpedo, great. Trying to get away, come on, come on, come on. Ah, barely. Yeah, as you can see, it's a constant annoyance. Now, if you're familiar with this channel, you may remember I am a huge fan of Wind Waker. However, in Wind Waker, you can practically avoid every obstacle with very little effort. But here on the Isle of Armor, Sharpedos will catch you. And yeah, Max Repels do nothing. Absolutely nothing. Which is terrible. Absolutely terrible. So I'm going to switch these back and put Blastoise back out front. Now, there's a bunch of new ways to buy things, but at this point in time, at least where I am with my dojo upgrades, there's no way to sell anything, which is very unfortunate, because after you upgrade the dojo, there's very little reason to go back to the mainland unless you're going to be breeding. I don't know if a daycare edition is going to be in the works for the dojo, but as far as I can tell, probably not. And last gripe, all the new haircuts for the guys are pretty bad. I'll show you a little haircut here, just to show you how they look. So we got the side part fade, just Chairman Ro's haircut. You got the Punk Hawk, so you can look like you're in Team Yell, or the Man Bun, which is the default dojo haircut. And this one's not bad. It's passable. I still prefer the braids, but yeah. And that's pretty much the entirety of what I have to say about the Isle of Armor. No, I don't want to print my league card again. Now, with all the great glowing things I have to say, and all the gripes I had to say, first off, Kung Fu, that's also one of my gripes. I'm not a big fan. However, Master Mustard is phenomenal. Actually didn't want to fight this guy, but he's great. He's a great character, and the last awesome thing about this DLC is the music. They added some fantastic tracks, and when this guy gets serious, it's just a phenomenal transformation. It's really cool. So you can tell he's just this old guy really getting into it. Very, very Master Roshi-esque. So yeah, all the new music, all the new locations, phenomenal. And overall, I would give the Isle of Armor a 29.99 out of 10. Because that's what you pay for the season pass. It is the Isle of Armor, it is the Crown Tundra, and who knows, they might even add more DLC beyond what we already know about. But in all seriousness, guys, let's change this. I'm gonna give a legit scoring here for the graphical stuff, for the music, for the new Pokemon, for the new mechanics, considering you can, for the level scaling, and you can actually come here very close to the beginning of the game, which is a huge game changer, because maybe you want to get into breeding early. You know, maybe you want to catch some of the new Pokemon, use them in the main story of the game, and not, this isn't post-game content. In all seriousness, I'm giving the Isle of Armor a 9 out of 10. Now, that's not the Season Pass. The Season Pass I would give a 10 out of 10. But we don't have all the content yet, so that's not really fair. But for the Isle of Armor, 9 out of 10, guys. It's phenomenal. If you have Sword and Shield, if you're wondering if it's worth it, 100%. 100%. And I really hope Game Freak keeps going in this direction. I really hope we keep getting DLC for games in the future instead of a third edition. Because I don't know about you, but I remember buying Pokemon Sapphire, and even further back, I remember buying Pokemon Silver, which was one of the first video games I bought for myself. And then hearing later that Pokemon Crystal was going to be coming out, which I never bought because I already had the game and I didn't want to pay, as a kid, like another, whatever it was at the time, like 30 or 40 bucks for a game I already had, essentially. And same with Ruby and Sapphire when they announced Emerald. I was like, man, I don't want to buy this again. And nowadays, I would much rather just be like, oh, they're coming out with a new game. Oh, and they're planning expansions. Yeah, give me the season pass. 100%. And I'm hoping going forward, after the DLCs come out, that they just include it with the game. Like, a year or two down the line. Just be like, call it Pokemon Sword and Shield Deluxe Edition. Include the season pass, like the DLC with the game, $60. That would be phenomenal. And I think for a year or two down the road, when maybe some people just picked up a Switch and they're looking at the best selling or the best reviewed games, and a bunch of different games that are out now are still $60 because Nintendo doesn't discount their games. Although I'm hoping later on we get a Nintendo Selects for the Switch. Discount some games that have already sold like gangbusters, half down to like $30 permanently. That'd be phenomenal. That'd be fantastic. But that's gonna do it for me, guys. Isle of Armor is out. I highly recommend it if you already have Pokemon Sword and Shield. Have a beautiful day. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you guys want more reviews, let me know about that too. I may or may not do those. But yeah, we got new segments coming out soon, a new series. Hope you guys are excited for that. And if you like what you saw here, maybe check out one of our other videos. We've been doing this for 3 years. We got like 2,000 videos on this channel, and mostly Let's Plays. But see you around, have a beautiful day, many blessings on your journey, and until next time, things are going to happen.